Oh, please say I didn't have that. Yeah, I think I did. I forgot you needed to hit the mute button. I sincerely hope I didn't have this thing muted the entire time. I think I did, though. I don't know. Yeah, these live streams are not going off terribly well. But when I first started doing them in the Philippines, I had a week or so before I had 4 or 5 before I finally got it down, and then wound up getting a different phone to get them to work well. Trying to see if I get any comments or anything else. Yeah, I can't see, so I'm hoping if somebody can hear me, that'd be appreciated if you just stick a comment of some kind in there. Uh, if you can't hear me, that'd be appreciated. Let me know that too. There's actually not a whole lot going on. Cindy works that she's working from 7 to 3:30 today this week because on Friday they only have a 4-hour day. And the ones that are on the contractual basis, they said that they can do 4 10s this week instead of taking the Friday off and not getting paid for it. That they're having an employee appreciation, and they're the workers that are still probationary, doing their first 90 days, that they do it through a temp agency, or not a temp agency, but a placement agency. So those guys aren't going to get paid for Friday for the half day. So they allowed them to come in. They allowed them to start at 6 to 3:30. But yeah, this is 6 o'clock rush hour traffic. It gets a little bit heavier than this, but not a whole lot. And that's one of the nice things to Phoenix. Most of the surface streets aren't that bad. You start getting closer into downtown and they can get bad. But yeah, that's just in case I wasn't broadcasting earlier. Hopefully I am now. That's one of the downsides to this is there's not a whole lot going on in these neighborhoods. These walks can be kind of boring. Oh, that's kind of cool. They repurposed an ambulance. I'm not entirely sure what they repurposed it as, but it's kind of cool. Looks like they may have made a camper out of it. She'll be going on as a permanent. Cindy will be going on as a permanent employee end of July. So probably August we'll be traveling. For a few reasons, we'll try and be back the first part of September. So, you know, that's far enough in advance that we have no clue other than that's kind of what we'd like to do. As far as what it's going to take for reality, not a clue yet. And these last couple of years has kind of drove home the point of what you'd like and what reality is often two very different things. So, nice looking Harley. Hey, I got comments. I can't read comments. I didn't grab my glasses. That was my bad. Hopefully people can hear me at least. Hey, I can hear. I got enough of the sun off this. That not entirely sure what all the comments say. We have an eyeglass appointment for next Friday the 26th that I will be glad to get my bifocals back. I hate reading glasses with a passion. Either I constantly forget them, or that I've set them somewhere and can't find them, or I wind up setting them somewhere and getting them horribly scratched. Surprisingly, I kept one pair for most the entire time in the Philippines. We did an eye appointment, and it kind of surprised me. The ophthalmologist wouldn't do a prescription for bifocals. That here the doc gives me a really mild, almost window pane for distance vision that I don't need them to see. I just need them to see well. I can see street signs and see that there are street signs, but I just can't quite read them until I'm like past them. But reading glasses I do need. I can't read hardly at all without them, and that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now. Is I can see there's comments, but I can't. That's all I can really see. That Thursday's live stream is probably going to be, well, it's definitely going to be from the house. I don't think I'm going to have the computer up and running yet. I don't think I'm going to have that set up, my office set up, until the office is finished. And that's kind of my problem there, is that I'm, whether I do it as a walking live stream or do it from the house. Yeah, right there's the bar, right there's the office. We'll go down a little ways. The shade helps me be able to read just a tiny bit. Brandon, you understand what the sun and how horrible it can be out here. That it's gonna be interesting. Hey John, how you doing today? Yeah, because I spent 30 years doing construction out in this sun. My first 10 years were back in New York State. I did a year in Florida. That was actually kind of cool. I enjoyed that. Almost got electrocuted down there. That at that point in my life, I was still playing Sparky. And I got hung up in circuit through just idiocy on my part. But other than that, I kind of liked Florida. That if I could have held the relationship we were having, that I was in together Probably would have stayed in Florida. Then I was 20, 19, 20, 21, somewhere in there. And 21. It was 86 that I was down there. That you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm gonna swing back by the house so I can grab my glasses so I can see these. Yeah, I just can't see comments. All I can see is kind of a white fuzz in a black bar. That Chana's starting to sit up all by herself. That we do a little bit of tummy time each day. That I'm starting to do a little bit of sitting time with her each day. And the last couple days that she's sitting up all by herself, and she'll start to play a little bit, and then she'll look up or something like that and lose balance and fall over. And I do it on the bed. So that way when she does kind of tumble, I just let her fall and we laugh about it and she giggles. And I help her sit back up. And it's kind of funny. You can tell if she's interested in sitting up. When you go to help her sit up, she'll hold her head so that it stays stationary. If she's not interested, when you go to pick her up, it just kind of flops back on her. And you got to find something to get her interest in sitting back up. If Cindy and Chana are, well, more Chana than Cindy. Cindy wasn't doing a shower, but well, she wasn't when I left, so. Hopefully she's watching at this point, so that she won't get surprised by me just showing up. Oh, shoot. These walks are actually kind of good for me because since I've gotten back, we haven't walked at all. And it's showing both in weight horribly. When we first got back, I started to do a couple of these. And I was able to walk. At this point, to walk around the block is a little bit of a stress for me. That the gains that I'd made in weight and everything else sadly have long since left. Yeah, I'm kind of looking that Cindy's been ordering a bunch of formula online through Facebook Marketplace, so I'm kind of wondering if that's what it is. Yep. For Cindy? That'd be my wife. I'm definitely not a Cindy. Thanks, guy.
No problem, man.
Let her know I'm coming in. Okay. You have more formula, I think. Ooh. More formula. Everybody decent?
Yeah. Sige, bye-bye mga ako sa di patukit. Oh, sige, 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 love you. Love you, bye-bye. Love you, baby.
Somebody's talking on the phone with her family.
Love you. Love you, bye-bye.
Hey, I can see words.
Love you, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm gonna make her milk. Because someone is sleeping. And let's go make milk.
Yeah, Brandon, there's days that it can feel like it's melting your skin off. I'm assuming that's formula?
Yeah. I got full of formulas.
That we went to Walmart, Winco. Where was the third? Fry's and Safeway. And Walmart had some formula. So we were able to buy 5 cans. 5 cans?
Yeah.
And that was all that they would sell you.
But that's the only brand.
Yeah, Simlac was the only brand that they had.
Yeah.
That they didn't have the Enfamil.
Yeah, this one, they don't have this one. It's out of stock.
Yeah, they didn't have the Enfamil NeuroPro. So if somebody knows where we can get some in the Valley, let me know.
I think there is a Costco in Queens Creek.
Somebody was checking out, see what was going on.
Chana, she's sleepy. I just need to make her milk because she slept through the night and wake up at 4. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good because that's good for me too.
If one of this team gets a good night's sleep, the other teammate does.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna grab me some water, and I'm gonna go out back and sit. That I finished out the conduit run, and I still need to get the mule tape pulled in and get a measurement on the conduit.
You need to get the door. That guy will be coming here 19th, which is Friday. 18 tomorrow.
30th. Or Thursday.
Okay, so you need to pick up the door tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Ricky.
Okay.
We don't have a mist system outside. And that's something I've half-heartedly thought about. That the old place we lived, that I lived at, we had a pretty big back patio. And we did put a mist system, and that helped a lot. Fortunately, this patio, because it's an east-facing patio, gets morning sun. But it doesn't get afternoon sun at all. Matter of fact, the later in the afternoon it gets, the nicer it gets. And so, there we go. There we go. Cool. With all the construction that we're doing, that I'm probably going to do that. And yeah, now that I already got that on nice and set, it'll work well because we've got a hose bib right there and I've got a manifold on it, and so I could easily take a pipe up and then run it down and across to make a nice little mister system out back here. There we go. Because it's kind of cool because I've actually got a second hose bib right over there that is the one I mainly use. That's where the water entrance comes into the house. That we actually have a side entrance for our water main. Yeah, it's I just saw the comment. It definitely less green than Cebu. That was one thing Mom and Papa, that Papa talked about here, is everything looks dead. and I can't say I disagree with them either. It does. It kind of looks brown and dead. That when we first picked them up in L.A. and we're coming back, the again language differences that I heard bukin. I didn't understand the first word clearly, and I thought I'd heard it, and when it got translated, yeah, it was what I thought I heard. That they were saying that they were naked mountains. That they'd never seen such a big area with no trees. We took them up in a few different places in the desert, and it amazed them that they could see for miles and not see a tree. Uh, that matter of fact, this Friday, that like I was saying, Cindy has a half day Friday and Saturday Sunday off. Uh, we're talking about going either up to Pinetop, Flagstaff, or Sedona. Not sure which one of the three we're gonna do. Flagstaff's got some neat things. Pinetop has some cool things, and Sedona does. And all three of them have decent little pine tree, pine areas. Just before we left, we booked an Airbnb in Sedona. May see if it's still there and available for this weekend, and see about booking it. Uh, but it just made a really cool time away. That one was really cool because went up and did fishing. There's that trout ponds in Sedona, and so the girls all went out and did a little fishing trip there, and they just had a ton of fun doing that. They came back and they had their uh, uh, they cooked the fish like they would Filipino fish. That Cindy was seriously impressed with the flavor and taste of trout. I don't ever remember seeing trout the entire time we were in the Philippines. And since trout's typically a cold water fish, I'm thinking they probably don't have trout down in that area. And freshwater fish in the Philippines just aren't terribly common anyhow. Maybe up in like some of the mountains in Bukidnon or Luzon, but I don't think there's any lakes big enough to have enough fish to do a commercially viable amount. Uh, I know they raise some tilapia, and I think tilapia is technically freshwater fish. So I don't know. I don't know enough about fish to. When I was younger, I used to love fishing. As I got older, I realized that yeah, no, that sitting around on the water with a pole in your hand was kind of boring. Uh, and I just never got that big into it. I never got boats to go out in deep water or anything like that and do decent fishing. But I always just fished off of a dock somewhere. And as a kid, it was kind of a fun way to kill an afternoon. As an adult, kind of boring. Uh, I I had always meant to get a pole when we were down there, and it's kind of expensive in the Philippines. And again, there's not a whole lot of places to go, especially in Cebu City. Maybe if we got out in the provinces, that when we were down in Cebu, it might have been kind of fun to go out on a pier and go fishing. But uh, not terribly sure. Have any of you guys done fishing in the Philippines? Did I know that Marcus Shoemate? He's talked about wanting to go a bunch of times, and I don't know whether or not he ever did finally get to go or not. My brother-in-law has a motorized banca boat, and so I don't know if he's using it during the day or not. And I guess Iloilo, Manila, and there was one other in kind of an odd place. Do have some commercial fishing, deep sea commercial fishing, fishing trip type places. So how much, if it's like what we'd be used to, or if it's more Filipino style, or what, I don't know. Uh, and I don't know how expensive they are or anything like that. I'm not a big enough fisherman for something like that to be a huge deal for me. But it could be kind of fun. It could be kind of a fun weekend or something like that to do. But if anything, I'd rather go. I'd rather go find the one of the dive boats, and they're all over. That I'd kind of like to take Cindy fishing here. I'm just not terribly sure where would be a great place to go that she could actually catch a fish and not be bored to tears. Uh, when she was doing it in the trout ponds, that was fun for her, but uh, it was also something that you were kind of fishing in a barrel. That it was kind of hard not to catch a fish. Uh, that I thought about going up to Pleasant, but Pleasant's such hit and miss. Unless you have a boat, it can be really, really iffy to do any kind of fishing or catching. Uh, and that's the other part of the reason why I got out of fishing here in Phoenix, is just because there isn't any decent fishing around. Not that you could do from shore. And like I said, I just never got a boat that they. It was just something I never pursued well enough, and never had the deep enough interest in it to go to. Uh, I've had a couple of friends. I got a friend of mine that he's tried to meet up a couple times, and I really need to get with him, invite him over. I haven't seen him in years. That we used to work together, and he actually left the city before I did, and I need to let him know we're back, and get with him that he wanted to meet up. But he's an avid fisherman, and last I knew, he had a nice setup to go fishing with. I got a friend of mine that he goes up to Lee's Ferry, up by Horseshoe Horseshoe Bend. Yeah, Horseshoe Bend, and fishes down there. But yeah, that's an awful long way to go fishing. But he's from Michigan and absolutely loves trout fishing, and so that is a big thing for him. Uh, and fishing is something he grew up with, especially in the area of Michigan that he grew up in. He used to joke where he grew up, you couldn't throw a stone and not hit water somewhere. That I think Cindy could get into it if she caught a few fish. But I think she could get horribly bored fast, and that would be the hard part, is to let her catch a couple fish, to let her have the excitement to get through the boredom. So that's kind of my thing. Is I used as as a kid, as a teen, even in the young adult, my 20s, fishing and hunting was something I did a lot back in upstate. That I grew up south of Buffalo, and my ex and I lived in Syracuse in central New York for quite a while, so there was a lot of fishing and hunting in that area, and we knew people, and so it was something I always did. But I got out here, and it was just such a completely different world. I tried a little bit, but it just I just never had much luck with it. One year, not too long after we got out here, decided to go javelina hunting, and my bad is I went by myself, and I actually did well. I managed to scout out a herd, knew where they knew pretty well where they hung out and all that good stuff, and this the open season in that area was one weekend, and it rained the entire freaking weekend, and I couldn't find hide nor hair of those stupid things, and that was my really one and only experience with hunting in Arizona. Uh, Fishing, I've done a few times with a couple different friends that have boats and stuff like that. On boats, you can do a little bit better, but the few times that I tried fishing from docks and piers, it never had any luck. You can't even catch freaking bluegill around here. It seems. Uh, so again, it just lost interest in me real quick. Uh, as a kid, I got into fly tying and all that. Really enjoyed it, and got into fly fishing for a while back home, and you had a lot of fun with it. But here, everything is just so stinking different, and yeah, I just not something I ever got an ongoing interest with here. And it's been so long since I've done any of it that in the Philippines I just never got it. Never interested in. I didn't have that recent of an interest in it to go do it. Uh, if we go back, I may buy a decent little pack rod and take it with us, just to kind of go out and play one day at the whatever local pier I can get onto, and just see what goes on. Uh, and again, I wouldn't know where to get bait shops or anything like that. A couple times that I looked for fishing supply, uh, if you went to any of the public markets or anything like that, they and asked about fishing supplies, they'd take you to where they had trawling nets, they had commercial fishing, and I try to explain to them that's not what I'm looking for, and they English would suddenly start becoming difficult. And the few times in malls, you could find the rods and reels, but they were kind of pricey. That it was definitely something geared more towards Western than locals. So I don't know. It might be some kind of cool to take a rod with me, and you can find decent pack rods fairly cheap out here. On Lazada, you could get a dirt cheap one from China, but I think it would be just that. It'd be more of a kid's plaything than an actual decent fishing rod. Uh, I was just checking time, see what kind of time it was. That Chana's normally going to bed about 7 o'clock, and I kind of want to go in and say goodnight with her. We're getting a little routine for her that seems to help calm her down and let her know it's bedtime. Uh, Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get with a friend of mine and see if I can get him to give me a hand bright and early in the morning. If not, I'll see if I can get my son to give me a hand getting a line blown in. And what I do, I've got some mule tape. It's a pulling line for electrical conduit, but it's marked every foot. So uh, if I can get a line blown in, I can pull in that mule tape. Excuse me, and that'll give me a measurement on how excuse me how long of a wire I'm going to need.
that it's the four wires are gonna be about $5 a foot, and so I want to be pretty dead on with the measurement when I go up there. Back in the day, I'd count conduit, add 20%, and just go get the wire. Here, yeah, today, no, I want it to be within a couple feet of correct. Uh, I will overestimate that I know it's a couple feet too long. That I still haven't ever found that wire stretcher, but I definitely don't want to be a foot or two short. I've got one place fairly close to the end that I could make a splice if need be, but that would be having to rebuy like 30 feet of wire, 30 40 feet of wire, and so I definitely don't want to do that. Oh, the price of everything is stinking insane. EMT conduit, 3/4 inch EMT conduit's like $14 a stick. Uh, yeah, we picked probably the worst possible time to build this office, but I it's coming along nice, and I think it's going to be good. Uh yeah, that the materials prices are just stinking insane. I went down and bought a piece of plywood that normally it'd be 12, $15. It was like 35, $40. That they're saying with the interest rates going up, the prices are going to start coming back down. I hope that is true. It won't do us any good for the office because we'll have had it built by then. But they're expecting by the end of summer for the prices to start coming back down if the interest rates continue to rise. Which, that will definitely be a huge help for a lot of things. And it'll let us put some money aside quickly too, because that's the other thing is that right now uh, we've taken on some debt, and we've never had debt before. So I would like to get back out of debt as quick as possible. That yeah, I don't like having I don't like having debt. That two times have I ever financed a car, and I hated both times. Other than that, I've always went out and found cars that were decent cars that I could pay cash for and buy a decent used car, and they have had exceptional luck with doing that. Uh, and up until the last 10 years or so, I'd always been able to work on the cars, but the last even that 2001 Xterra, there's enough computer control in there that it's hard to work on. So the new Santa Fe, I don't think I'd dare even change the oil. It's just so stinking computer controlled. I'd be worried about damaging a sensor somewhere, changing the oil. So yeah, I don't know. Which is part of the reason why I enjoyed a midget. That's something I know and it can work on. Uh, and that was kind of my hope with Sunshine in the Philippines, is that was going to be a vehicle that I could work on. I just didn't realize the parts issue, and that was I'll take partial responsibility in that one for not trying to figure out a little bit better. But everybody talks about getting parts for them, so I assumed there was a little bit better parts supply than there actually was. Uh, and like I say, why the dealers won't sell you parts for the engine and such, that one I still can't figure out. Uh, and I think if I would have just tried not to or give them whatever information they needed, that they wanted to hear, instead of giving them the actual information, things would have went a little bit smoother too. So, I don't think I'd ever do another multi-cab there, just because of that. The parts are just too hard to come by. If I could find a good supply here that I could ship over there, I might consider it. But nah, other than that, no. But it's about 5 minutes to 7, and so I want to be in there for Chana. So we will go see if they're ready for bed yet. Brandon, we need to hook up one of these days. Go out for a beer or something.
Okay. Supposed to
She asleep?
Yeah, no. No. She's wide open. Say night night. But live from Phoenix. Mabuhay.